Witches, wizards, and muggles. Such an honour it is to welcome you to Rennervate, a Harry Potter TCG revival podcast with your host, Doug, Mona, and Emilio.
Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Rennervate, a Harry Potter TCG revival podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Doug Coleman, and I'm here today with the other co-hosts, as always.
Mona Morsi.
Emilio Soto and a giant pumpkin.
And a giant
nice.
pumpkin.
How's everyone doing tonight?
Phenomenal.
Good. I'm sad we forgot about Dobby this time. He's gonna be sad.
Oh, it's okay.
Yeah.
He'll be fine.
He's used to it, unfortunately.
Yeah.
You'll understand.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. I think he's probably asleep, actually, because we've been talking about Chamber of Secrets for so long. There's so many cards in this set. I can't even believe we had to split it up into two parts. That being said, I hope you guys were listening to our first episode where we covered the first, I think it was 75 cards, the rares, or I forget how many there
55.
are. 55, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
But tonight we're going to pick up kind of where we left off, finish off this set, and go card by card.
Oh, we'll try.
Yeah, and I was going to say typically we have like a top 5 to cover, but we already did that in another episode. So if you haven't seen that, check that out as well.
Please do.
It seems like we have an order established. Let's start with Emilio tonight.
Yeah, let's start. Let's start
do it.
with my favorite, an item that is not an item.
Yes.
The first uncommon card is Angel's Trumpet Drought. There you go. It costs 4 potions. It's a spell. And to play this card, you must return 2 potion lessons in play to your hand, of course, of your own. And then you do 7 damage to your opponent or a creature of your choice. So, this is just a little different from previous cards that we've reviewed in terms that it doesn't discard your lesson plans. They return to your hand.
Yeah.
Cost less, only costs 4, hits for 7. Personally, still not a fan of this kind of card, to be honest. But I don't know, do either of you play this?
Personally, I was just playing a potions deck last night, and I was thinking to myself, I wish I had something like this. All of like base set and previous iterations are more or less discard your potion lessons. This being returned to your hand is huge at a low cost to do 7 damage. If I had copies of this card, they'd be in my decks for sure.
Interesting.
Yeah, I do have. So as I mentioned, I don't love the potion cards that discard lessons. However, I did find a really nice McGonagall potion deck on Pojo.
Nice.
And so I built that. I made a couple changes and I added the potion dungeon, which instead of discarding potion lessons, all of them return to your hand, right? Very similar to like Hagrid's house.
Love it.
And so that's a really good card to have, but Angel's Trumpet already has that ability. So like, I feel like having the potions dungeon is really for like Malevolent Mixture and all those types of cards that you have to discard, but like this one's kind of already has it. And so having these cards is definitely, it's easy to build a potion deck with them. So yeah, I definitely have those and switched out a few of those cards you have to discard for that one. So
definitely an improvement for that lesson type. That's pretty cool.
For sure.
Cool way to start this one off. All right, the next card is Blocked. It's Quidditch, costs 5, and it's a spell that reads draw 4 cards. Then your opponent may choose a lesson in his or her hand and discard it. If he or she does, you choose 3 cards in your hand and discard them. So I don't even think I own a copy of this. Never played it in a deck. I'm not sure that I really would though either. It's an interesting one. It feels like it belongs in Quidditch for sure. Like Mona has said in the past, Quidditch is do something, then something, then something.
Exactly.
Like this is a perfect example of that.
Yeah, same. I mean, I do have like for like a Quidditch deck. I think Blocked is actually. I mean, it's okay, I guess, but like I don't know if I want to draw 4 cards. Right. To be honest, So I'm like, whatever. Like there's so many other like I want to do damage. Like if it was like do 4 damage or something like that, then yeah. But yeah, I mean, of all the Quidditch cards, I don't think I would have this one unless I needed to draw cards for the deck or something. But
right, like as a resource building. Yeah.
Yeah. No.
Yep. And pretty standard art, just like Angel's Trumpet. Nothing exciting, to be honest.
Right. Yeah. So far, nothing grabbing us. But I think our next card is Mona's.
Yes. So we've got a Blocked Barrier. It's an adventure. The effect is your opponent can't use actions to play location cards. To solve it, your opponent chooses 2 location cards in his or her hand and discards them. And the reward is once during this turn, when your opponent uses an action to play a location card, he or she gets 2 more actions this turn. So the only time that I can think that this would actually make any difference in my world at all is if I'm playing my Dobby and VTJ deck.
Okay.
Because in order for me to really get like the heavy hitters out sooner than later, I would require wand shop.
Yes.
And so this would definitely suck if somebody pulled this out, because I couldn't play it. And then, of course, if I even wanted to, I'd have to get rid of the other 2 that I might have in my deck. And so that would be really good. Unless, of course, I had like a Dobby, what is it? Hover Charm, where I could get rid of a card or something. But yeah, that would suck for sure.
I feel that way about if I were playing an owl or spider themed deck. Both of those have cards that like will increase the health of your owls or the damage of your owls, and same with the spiders. Aragog's Lair, that's a revival card. But either way, that would be a tough pill to swallow for sure going up against this adventure. Normally, though, I wouldn't be too worried about it. I love how flavorful it is, though, where it's just like they can't get through 9 3/4, and you see Hedwig there like almost busting out of the cage. This art I'm a big fan of, but and just how flavorful it is. But again, I'm not ever playing this.
But it's almost impossible to solve, right? Like if you have like a few copies of the location in your deck and then some get discarded, it's like what are you gonna do? You just can't play it.
Deal with it the whole game.
Yeah. Yep.
Pretty nasty.
Yep.
Okay, so let's go to the next nasty thing. It's the Bundimum.
Ooze.
This is Wizards of the Coast, isn't it?
It's a little like snot thing there. Looking at it at a little cute picture, pretty cute
of itself.
It's a spell, but it's a potion again. Great. 5 cost. Your opponent chooses one of their creatures, right, or items in play and discards it. Then they take damage equal to that card's printed power cost. So, of course, your opponent chooses, so it kind of sucks in that aspect. But if some people here, let's say Doug, play like really big items and not that many at a time, right? So if you play this against that kind of deck, you can discard something expensive and hit your opponent for a lot of damage.
Yeah.
And if you have like Transfiguration potions or something like that, or even Charms potions that you can maybe Hover Charm or Neville's or Defendo, like other things, right? To make sure that your ooze hits what you want it to hit, it can be really devastating. Control. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, I do like playing this card, especially if like, someone's got an Arthur Weasley item deck, and they've got Bulge Eye or something, which has actually been played against me. And so it really does hurt. It's a good card. Especially because it's creatures or items. So when you have that option, it really sort of allows you to be creative with the game. Because if it's just creatures or just items, and you might have a card in there that's a dull and you're not doing anything.
Totally.
At the same time, if your opponent has both creatures and items, that also gets dicier for you to hit what you want.
That's true. Yeah, very true.
Definitely. No, that's a cool one. I wonder if there's any Bundamoos in any of the Harry Potter books at all, but probably not. But we're moving on. The next one's called Caught. It's cost 6 Transfiguration. It's a spell, and it says choose one of your opponent's cards in play other than his or her starting character and discard it. Your opponent may prevent this by choosing 4 cards in his or her hand and discarding them. So this feels reminiscent of like picking on Neville, but you're basically choosing one of their cards, and they can prevent it by discarding stuff from their hand, though, which is a little bit more unique. I like this, but I don't play it. I don't even know if I have copies of this, but it's interesting. The art is strange. Is that like a troll getting stuck in a tree, or is that the Whomping Willow? I don't know what's going on.
I know it does kind of look like the Whomping Willow a bit, pulling out some extra tricks that it might have. I don't think
the Whomping Willow has changed. I'm pretty sure this is a spell.
At this point, this is another Wizards of the Coast.
Yeah.
Well, maybe or maybe the author comes and releases that. Yeah, Whomping Willow has changed because that's how she rolls. Recently,
that's how she rolls.
Apparently.
Yeah.
Oh, geez.
True that. I have played with Caught. I do like it, but like you say, it's just kind of like an extra like Dobby's disappearance or picking on Neville, these types of cards, so it can be helpful for sure.
Yeah, classic transfiguration.
I like it a lot in the sense that it could be just basically destroying all your opponent's cards, right?
Yeah.
And if you have a control deck that controls your opponent's hands, like normally they will not be able to respond to it anyway. So that's not bad.
Totally.
And then if you have Albus Dumbledore, it costs 4, so that's pretty nice.
Definitely. Very good.
Then you go to a horrible card that we're not going to talk about. We're just gonna skip it.
We're just gonna skip it.
I wish.
Oh man, this would be the infamous Caught by Snape, the adventure that people love to hate and hate to love. So the effect is your opponent can't use actions to play any cards except lesson cards. To solve, your opponent uses actions to play lesson cards 3 times. Those actions don't need to be one right after the other. And the reward is that your opponent may put any number of lesson cards from his or her hand into play. The artist is Kevin Dobler, absolutely, amazing. Most of the art is, but this art is definitely phenomenal. And the foil, the foil one is great. The thing about Caught by Snape, as I'm sure we've all sort of like, beat a dead horse, I guess, with this one, but the reward itself, the fact that your opponent can now put any number of lesson cards from his or her hand or their hand into play, is sort of like a slap in the face, I guess. That's kind of like the whole point, I guess, about why people don't like Caught by Snape, because it's like, all right, so you're stopping me from doing anything, and then I can only play lessons, and then that's got to be 3 times, and now you have the audacity to tell me that I can put all of my lessons now. And then the worst part is, if that does happen and they do sort of not fall for it, but if they just comply with the reward, then someone else plays another Caught by Snape, because you can do that. You can play up to 4 of these cards. And then, you've sort of given up your chance of solving it again. So there's a lot of issues with Caught by Snape.
It's restricted in Revival Group, right? So it's only one
of the banned cards, I believe. I forget.
It's been a restricted,
I'm not sure.
Something like that. Yeah.
It's potentially one of them. You mentioned there's a foil variant. I didn't even know that.
Yeah, there is. Yeah, so it comes in one of the starter decks. I believe it's I know it's like the Chamber
2-player one.
Yeah, it's the.
Oh,
so Percy? There's a Fred and George, there's Percy, and there's a 2-player.
I think it's a 2-player one. Yeah, because because I think the Fred and George one comes with the potions
test. Yeah. That's right.
And the other one is the Manticore.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, there we go.
Yeah,
there must be the 2-player. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So it's really beautiful.
Yeah,
it's super nasty, and it's really expensive, even for an uncommon. I've seen them gone for $30 for a non-foil one. Yeah, it's crazy.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, I used like when I first started playing the game, I had like 4 of these in a deck, but then I realized. But then, you do realize, like, if you're winning with having more, if you play Caught by Snape more than twice and you win the game, it's the Caught by Snape that makes you win. It's not not because your deck is good. It's because you're restricting your opponent from fighting back, essentially.
Exactly.
It's like their arms are tied behind their back, and then you punch them in the face, but you win the fight.
An unfair fight.
So you learn from that, and now you play 5.
Now I play 5. Actually, I only have Caught by Snape.
Yeah, exactly.
I only have
Caught by
Snape. Yeah,
it's a very expensive deck.
Yeah, but, So now I usually just play with 1 in the deck, if it is in there at all.
And your starting character is the foil one. All right, good.
Correct. Yeah.
But that leads us to our next card. I believe this is Emilio.
That's me. We have a 3-cost Quidditch spell called Checked, with a very boring art as usual for Quidditch, in my opinion. And this does 4 damage to your opponent. Then your opponent may choose a lesson card in their hand and discard it. And if they do, then you take 4 damage.
Mm-hmm.
So not much to say there.
Yeah, flavorful. It feels like you just got checked if you're doing damage and they do damage right back. It's optional, but I don't play this card at all. I like how low cost it is to do 4 damage, but the chance of them just damaging you back, it's probably not worth it. I don't know.
I mean, you can do it and then they discard, they hate you, and then you play Caught by Snape, and they hate you more.
Yes.
There's mind games also here.
Oh gosh,
for sure.
A Quidditch deck Caught by Snape.
They follow each other. Isn't that bizarre? So Caught by Snape then follows by Checked.
Yep.
So maybe they were thinking about that,
Evil.
Maybe.
I like the quaffle. It's very interesting and kind of how I pictured it from the books and stuff. But speaking of Quidditch, we're on to the next card, which is the Clean Sweeps 5. It only costs 3 Quidditch power. It provides 1 Quidditch power, and it reads, when you play this card, look at the top 2 cards of your deck and put both of them on the bottom or back on top of your deck in any order. If you play this card and already have a broom in play, discard the old one. So yeah, that's the thing about brooms. They're kind of like wands. They replaced the previous broom that was played.
Yep.
But this little extra advantage to me, I guess it is flavorful for Quidditch because there are a couple cards that we've covered where you do just look at cards on top of your deck and put them back in any order. I don't know why you would put them at the bottom unless you look at the 2 from the top and say these suck and put them at the bottom. It's an interesting card. I clearly don't own one or I'd probably experiment with it in a Quidditch deck.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is kind of an odd one. I mean, putting cards at the bottom of your deck, and the way that I see it is just adding them back to your deck or being able to eventually shuffle them in somehow. You know what I mean? So it's just like the ability to, or if it's like going to save you, which I don't really know if there's any really card that just one of them will save you, in the entire game. If eventually you're depleting your deck and then you get to it, I have no idea, but
Gotcha.
It's at least gives you a chance to put it back in your deck somehow.
Yeah. So that's interesting.
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, sure. Okay. We've got Counter Curse is next. It's a spell transfiguration. Choose one of your opponent's creatures in play and put it on the bottom of his or her deck. So that's another put it on the bottom of their deck. I guess it's okay, like it's putting it back into their deck, but not easily accessible. But again, they can shuffle it back to where it is easily accessible.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, it's at least getting it out of your way for now.
Exactly. I do like that card. 5 power isn't that much. So to be able to like knock out like a big creature that could be like wreaking havoc on you every turn, I'm a fan of this card.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a card.
There we go.
Yeah, I don't like it that much, but it's interesting.
Yeah.
I normally prefer, if you're gonna put in the deck, I actually prefer it on top of the deck because you can make loops in different games that your opponent's just drawing the same cards.
Oh, okay.
It's really annoying. So
yeah,
I like that. But yeah, this one bottom, that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
However, now we can move to another poopy card, the Dragon Poop Compost, and it costs 7. Which is a lot.
Yes.
Has a little cool dragon in a bag of poopy. And before each of your turns, count the number of plants you have in play and do that much damage to your opponent. So
wow.
This is obviously supposed to be played in plant decks, but costs 7. That's a lot.
Yeah.
And then it's also before each of your turns. So, the turn you play it, you don't get any benefit from it. So that's bad too. And then plants, saying that you have maybe 3 or 4 plants in play, I don't know how much you get out with Sprout, and Mona can tell us more about it. Doesn't look like it's worth it, but I'll let Mona tell us if it's worth it or not.
Yeah.
I have found that it is worth it. And the reason for that is I should back up. If you have a Sprout plant deck, then it's worth it because you've got Cobra Lily, Mandrake, Leaping Toadstool, and Umbrella Flowers. Those are all plants. And so even if there's been, on average, whenever I play that deck with 4 of each of those in, I'm able to have 8 plants out at once. 4 of them would be doing healing for me. So they would take the damage, which would be the Umbrella Flowers and Leaping Toadstools. And then Mandrake and Cobra Lily are the ones doing damage. And so if you're able to get at least 4 of them, then that's just adding additional damage. So, yeah, but like you're right, Emilio, like it does suck that it's, nothing happens. Yeah, it's 7 and then nothing happens the actual turn that you play it. And so, of course, it can be because it's an item. It's kind of vulnerable. There's a lot of cards that are like remove the item or this or that. But yeah, I mean, I have found that it is worth it if you have a dedicated plant deck, but it's not so needed that it actually does anything extravagant. But adding extra damage always sucks. So
there you go.
It's like Swarm in a way, but just for plants specifically. But
exactly, and it's expensive AF, like you said. So it's kind of like.
Oh, that was a dragon poop. I'm glad it has some use.
There we go.
So we can go to the earmuffs now.
Yes, that also costs 7, Care Magical Creature. It's also an item, and it reads, once during each of your turns, you may choose one of your opponent's creatures in play, Prevent up to 3 damage from that creature on your opponent's next turn. So that's pretty handy. I don't think I've played this myself. I may or may not have a copy or two of that laying around somewhere, but I should probably experiment with that because I don't ever really focus on preventing damage. In fact, I was playing a Quidditch deck last night and one of the brooms was like, oh, prevent damage. And I forgot the whole game. I was like, no, I should have been preventing damage the whole time. So like, but this card is very clearly, that's the whole intent of it. So if that's your bag, then I would give this one a try.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How about you, Mona?
I don't really play with this card. It's not like a good or bad or anything, but I think the only item that I like playing the Dragon Dung Compost for 7, I'm okay with doing, but the Earmuffs, I'm just like, it doesn't really do the
Yeah, and also the art is just whatever.
The art is kind of silly, I guess, of all the things that it could be, but that's okay.
Yeah, you would think they'd be on somebody's head, but instead they're just there.
You can't have it all.
Yep.
Oh. Yeah.
Now we can go to Endless Sandwiches, which is actually making me hungry.
Oh, geez.
Mm-hmm. Is that me?
Yes.
Okay, Endless Sandwiches. It's a spell, charms. It costs 7. And it says, play this card only if you have fewer than 7 other cards in your hand. Draw cards until you have 7 cards in your hand. So it's just good to, I guess, continue drawing to add extra cards in your hand. I don't know if I would want to use this card for that. I think it's expensive, and I think having maybe like the burrow or something else, if you really want to like draw, then you could do that. But
I feel like this would be the perfect way for Emilio's Eat Slugs deck to like wrap up a game. You just kind of kill yourself with this one because
there you go. Eat some sandwiches and some slugs.
Exactly. Just gluttony. But no, this I like the art. I like how it's 777, but in use, no thank you. Although I think there was on a previous episode, we talked about that experimental spiral dive deck where you're trying to draw cards. Mm-hmm. This might be one you want to throw in there, but I'm not so sure that Charms works with that deck anyway. So it's interesting.
Right. That's true. Yeah.
Yeah. I like the card, but I would prefer if I wanted to be replenishing my hand, I would just have like a starting character, maybe like one of the Harry Potters that let you draw until you have 4 cards in your hand, or
there you go.
The regular Harry Potter that you can draw 2 cards with 1 action, rather than run this.
That makes sense.
But yeah, I like the art, very cozy. And they're biting into their food. So great. Now we can go to Flu Powder, which is our next card.
Into the flu.
There you go. It's Mona's card. But I'm gonna review it, and it's pretty cool. Another Flu Powder item that's not an item. Costs 2 Transfiguration, and it lets you search your deck for a location, show it to your opponent, and then you put it back into your hand. Well, you put it into your hand. So yeah, pretty cool. Obviously, Flu Powder takes you places without needing an airplane. It's magic, and you take a location. So yeah, very flavorful, very cheap. A tutor is always welcome. And if you need a location, you might want to run this, right? If you really depend on the location. But yeah, I don't depend on location, so I've never used this.
Yeah, it's almost worth revisiting, like I was saying with like owl decks and stuff, but I'm like, do I even have Transfiguration? I think it's a straight creature at that point, but hey, it's worth trying at least. This is a pretty cool card. I do like it. That leads us to our next card, though, which is Forgotten Password. It costs 6 charms power, and it's a spell that reads, during your opponent's next turn, he or she can't use actions to play lesson cards. So that's brutal. Feels reminiscent of some other cards we've mentioned in the past, but I don't think I've played this one. I don't actually think I have a copy of it, but it's really cool.
Yeah, this is caught by Snape. It's just like, go. Like, leave this game. Like, I don't want to play with you. Like, just leave. I would be really angry if someone plays Caught by Snake and this card.
Right? Yeah, no, that'd be a brutal combo.
But I think probably that's the intent, or like what the people were thinking when they made this card.
Right.
The art is really cool. You have the fat lady staring at Neville, who forgot the password once again.
Right.
And yeah, I don't know the relationship of forgetting a password with not being able to play lessons, but it's still cool.
I guess he
Card
couldn't go get
mechanic.
his spell books and stuff inside. I'm not sure, but yeah,
there's a library.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, same. I mean, I love the art. It's awesome, but it is kind of one of those cards. It's like, okay, well, I don't know. After like just playing Caught by Snape or something, I'm like, well, I mean, I think I want to see opponents playing lessons and putting their best cards out because I want to see if my decks are decent. You know, like after sort of growing out of the 17 Caught by Snape in one deck, I've kind of understood like, well, I'm winning, but it's not because my decks are good. It's because I have Caught by Snape. And you kind of have to get over that. Some people don't get that. You know, I still play with people who have like 3 or 4, actually 4 Caught by Snape, and then they have the ability to pull it in. And then, you know, so like if you have these types of cards, Forgotten Password, and you kind of do the same thing, it's like, well, I mean, you're stopping me and you're winning because of that, but it's not really a victory in my eyes. So.
Right. I definitely agree with that. That also takes us to our next card, which, speaking of the library, Emilio, or Mona, rather, this is Mona's. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I was like, okay.
Yeah, invisibility section. It costs 4 transfiguration. It is a spell. Choose one of your opponent's cards in play other than their starting character and discard it. Then they choose one of your cards in play other than your starting character and discard it. So there it is. That's the card.
Yep, pretty basic. Not
basic, kind of funny artwork. There's no books there, right? They're invisible. How are you gonna read them? I don't know. It's very, very confusing concept in general.
Definitely.
True.
So putting that confusing art besides us, you know, in the past, we can move on to a card that actually has a promo as well.
Yes.
And this is Keeping Dobby Quiet. And you have Dobby, very, very humanoid Dobby, knocking his head against a wall. It's an adventure. And it reads that your opponent discards their hand. Your opponent discards the card drawn at the start of each of their turns. So that's horrible. So
yeah,
they're just losing their card every turn. Your opponent has to take 8 damage to solve, which is actually manageable, right? You can just do it whenever.
Yep.
And then you take 2 damage. So basically, this card will hit your opponent for 8 damage because no one will not solve this immediately.
Right.
And you take 2. Very weird card. I don't know. This is one of the adventures I don't particularly like because it's like you're just doing an effect, right? People are just gonna do it.
Right. Immediately
fine,
solve
guess,
adventures. Yeah, those are kind of lame. But again, it's you do 8, you take 2. I don't know. Not worth it to me.
Yeah, I mean, it's good. It's boring for me.
Yeah.
You're using 2 actions to hit your opponent for 8. Right, basically.
Yeah. And do 2 to yourself.
They have to solve it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Interesting card.
Yeah, doing the 2 to, I don't know. It's just one of those. It's like, okay, well, yeah, like you said, like they have to solve it. Like at least with Hagrid Needs Help, you know, like they are still, no matter whether they solve it that turn or the next turn, then at least they have 1 fewer actions, and then you're not doing any damage to yourself, but they still take the 8. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just one of those. But yeah, the promo of it is dope.
Yeah, I was wondering why they picked that card for a promo. Probably just because it had Dobby on it. They're like,
Dobby iconic movie scene, I think too.
Yeah. It did come out with the Chamber of Secrets movie release, 2002.
That makes sense.
So,
and
so
that seems very funny.
Yeah, true.
Cool.
All right, that takes us to our next adventure, which is Locked In. The effect is your opponent gets 1 fewer action on each of his or her turns, even if the turn this adventure is solved. Oof, that's rough. If this would mean your opponent has fewer than 1 action, he or she still gets 1 action. So that's makes up for that. But then to solve, your opponent chooses 4 cards in his or her hands and discards them. Your opponent's reward is your opponent may draw 2 cards. So it feels like you're locked in. It very, very much feels flavorful, but I don't ever play this card. Again, I might not even have a copy of it if I'm being honest. But the art, yes, Harry looks sad.
Hedwig looks like it's staring at its death in the future.
Yeah, right.
Oh man. That's
But
so
yeah,
funny. Yeah, kind of a meh card, I guess. For me.
agreed. Same
I
here.
mean, it's powerful. I guess you're trading 2 actions to make your opponent have 1 action, right?
I again think they'd solve
Take 2
immediately.
damage. Take 2 damage because they draw 2, right? Discard 4 cards. That's a lot. So once again, I just don't like, and on average, I just don't like adventures in
Same.
general. Yeah.
You don't like them in general, you said?
Yeah, in general, I think it's
Yeah.
just a bad mechanic in general. Unless they have like a fun interactive component, it just turns out I use 2 actions on 1 card to do this, and you have to do it because if not, you cannot escape like whatever I'm doing to you. And I don't know, I just don't like it. Yeah,
I
most
gotcha.
of them I don't like. I like some of them though, but most of them I
Right.
do not. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
So now goes Mona.
Yep.
Okay, let's do it. So we've got Lockhart's Hair Care Potion. Costs 1 potion. It is an item. Whenever you play a character card, you use up 1 action to play instead of 2.
Nice.
Yeah, not bad.
Very cheap. Yeah. Whose ability is that? Is that the
twins?
Yeah, that's what it was. Yep.
Yeah. Or Ron, right?
Yes, that's
All
what Camille said.
characters, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The twins are the adventures.
You're
Yeah.
right. Yes.
Yeah, I mean it's a good card, especially if you're running like a character deck. It's cheap. There's that character deck on what is it, the Dark Mark?
Yes.
And so they have potion and transfiguration, and so that's just an extra one. But I think you start with Ron anyway, so I guess you wouldn't do that. But if you didn't want to start with Ron and you can pull that out fast enough, then you'd be good.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be interesting maybe if you had Draco Malfoy Slytherin deck, and you also want, for whatever reason, you also want characters. This would make it so you draw a card, or you get an extra action, and if you want to play a character in turn, it only costs 1 action, right?
That's awesome.
It makes all those 3 actions very profitable.
The character card I've been experimenting with my Draco deck is Lucious Malfoy, one of the revival cards. Man, it's so cool because his ability reads after if you do 5 or more actions this turn, you do, I forget exactly. I think you do damage or something for every action after the second action or something. It's wild. Yeah, pretty cool. Definitely wanted to shout that out. But I guess that takes us to our next card, which this is Emilio.
Yep. And my next card is the Magical Mess Remover. Pretty cool card. I like the art. It's like a not even 90s, probably like 70s, like a very old commercial.
Yeah.
Like, like you have the face of the company, this witch, and the cap has the bottle has a little cute cap, like witch's hat, very nice. Only cost 1. It's a spell, not an item. And then you choose any number of your cards in play other than your starting character, and you discard them. So this is good to remove unique cards that are blocking your way of playing the same unique card, right? So I know that people use this. I would use it as well if I had a deck that wanted to get stuff out, right? Madame Pomfrey's or whatever you wanted to, go over that unique rule that's so annoying. And I just love the art. I really like the infomercial, like, do you have a mess to clean? And then like the magical mess remover for 200 galleons, 3 easy payments of 200 galleons. I don't know, like something like that, right? So it's pretty cool. Yeah, pretty cool.
It's
funny. Definitely.
The little quote there too is reminds me of the book. It says Harry had seen him scrubbing the message on the wall with Mrs. I think it says Slower's all-purpose magical mess remover, but to no effect. So yeah, they're probably trying to get the blood off the walls off the Heir of Slytherin message.
Apparently, it doesn't work very well.
Yeah,
but it does get out characters in the game.
There
so that's good. Yeah.
Nice.
Right.
Well, wow, the next card is really boring.
Yeah, well, it's not a promo, but the holographic version, right? We were talking about that. Yes.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, this is the Manticore, a creature that costs 5. It does 2 damage, has 4 health, and a badass beard, if I might add that.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean the art is cool. It's interesting, but yeah, like Amelia said, it's just kind of boring. It's one of those. I mean, it's expensive too, so it doesn't do anything else. It does 2 damage for you. Like you might as well just have Black Bat that does 2 damage right when you play it, and it costs 1 less, and then it does the 2. So I don't know. It's just kind of one of those. It's like I do have it in some decks, but would not be sad if I replaced it with something else.
Gotcha. Yeah, that art freaks me out. His face is a little too human, and the scorpion tail or whatever's going on in the back,
kind of like a sphinx slash.
Yes.
I don't know what scorpion slash
sphinx vibes for sure.
Yeah, slash lumberjack, I guess.
There we go.
So there you go.
Cool.
Well, it is really weird art for sure. Yeah.
Did I already mess up our order? I forget, but I think this next one's mine. I could be wrong. Or no, the next one's Emilio's. Or no, you just did the magical mess remover. So
maybe I messed it up.
Don't worry.
Yeah, you messed it up.
It was definitely me.
That's okay. I'm usually at fault for a lot of things.
I'll take this next one because it is one of my favorite cards. There's a couple. There's 3 of them actually. There's Potions Homework, Potions Project, and Potions Test. But we're talking about Potions Project right now. It is a spell that costs 5 potion power, and it reads: your opponent takes damage until he or she discards a total of 2 lessons from his or her deck. And man, this card is very spicy because you never know what's in your deck or how many lessons your opponent has already played at that point. There's been many times when I've played against my wife where like we've had both sides of the spectrum where it's like, oh, I'll play this and it'll do 11 damage or something insane until both lessons are revealed, or you reveal 2 cards and both of them are lessons, so you only do 2 damage. So it's a wide variety of possibility here, kind of all left up to just the luck of the draw, and I love that about these cards.
Yeah I do like playing Potions Project, in pretty much whatever deck you've got potions in. It's just one of those. It's like it could never hurt you to play it because it's essentially it's kind of like doing damage, but you just never know, like you said, like how many lessons there's going to be. I mean, it could be 2 cards, it could be 15 cards.
Exactly. Yep. There's been some really brutal ones we've had in the past.
There really has. Yeah. It's been
that card rocks.
And then we go to a card that is just okay, very cute though. The Prickly Porcupine.
Yes.
When you play it, you draw a card. So it's like the Crazy Capybara cousin. Also draws you a card. Has 2 health, 2 life, costs 5, which is a lot. But of course, this deck would just want to get creatures out, right? Even they're small and just like swarm and keep making sure that keep getting creatures out. Very cute art. It's holding a broom and it's eating some little twig. And not much to say about it other than if you have creature deck and you need not to worry much about draw, you could try stack this out, Crazy Capybara and the like. To draw what you need and making sure that you're landing your creatures every turn. I've never created such a deck. Has either of you done this?
I have not. Mona?
No, I haven't played with Prickly Porcupine, but I mean, just like you said, I mean, it's okay, I guess. I just wouldn't. Yeah, I think I probably wouldn't pay 5 for 2 unless it does something more for me than just draw a card, or like the Manticore does nothing. So
right. Yeah, that's, I guess, if I'd go Prickly Porcupine over Manticore at this point, just for that card.
Yeah.
But all right. Ooh, the next cards are our first password card, if I'm not mistaken. These are also interesting.
Yes, that's me. So spell and its charms cost 6, and it is a password. I think there's 3 password cards. And so this one's called Pure Blood. When you play this card, play it face down and tell your opponent to guess Pure Blood, Sherbet Lemon, or Wattlebird. If he or she guesses Pure Blood, nothing happens. Otherwise, do 8 damage to them. So there's Wattlebird, Sherbet Lemon, and Pure Blood. I mean, it's fun, it's kind of like more interactive, your opponent has to guess something and all that kind of stuff. So it is nice, but it definitely hurts.
Oh, it hurts bad. It's just, again, up to fate or just getting lucky or not. And I like both the password cards and those potion projects kind of cards, because it's just very much just like, who knows what's going to happen at this point. Good luck.
Yeah, I mean, if you really want to be sneaky, then you could always just do like 2 of the 3. So your opponent is gonna, you know what I mean? Like just have Pure Blood and Wattlebird only, or whatever 2, and then it's like your opponent's gonna be like, oh, it's Sherbet Lemon, and you'll be like, never, it's not at all. But like they just, I mean, that's kind of, I guess, because you don't have to have all of them. You don't even have to. You can only just have 1 if you wanted to. But
Those are cool. Definitely cool.
They are
cool. Yeah, and we'll definitely probably not like when we go to another password, we'll just say it's a password, right? Because
they read the same exactly.
And I actually have my deck that I've talked about is Lockhart's Lecture and all their passwords, because it's just fun to have your opponent say brilliant and also try to guess
there
what
you
you're
go.
doing.
Yeah.
Yes.
Why not? That's a good.
Fun.
That's a good one.
So now is
Rabbit
right?
Slippers. Yes.
Oh, we switched. Okay.
Yep. Yeah. I'm sorry. We're gonna go with the new order now.
Yeah.
Rabbit Slippers is a spell. It costs 8 Transfiguration, and it reads: choose up to 2 creatures in play and discard them. For 8, not bad. Discarding 2 creatures is nothing to sneeze at, so I'll take it. Honestly, I need to make some more anti-creature decks, but what's the worst thing that could happen is when you make anti-creature deck and then your opponent doesn't even have creatures, and it's like I have all these dead weight cards. So like this is more or less for a side deck in my opinion.
Right.
For sure. Yeah, it's kind of expensive, so unless you're playing something that cuts it down, it's a little costly.
Yeah.
But definitely side deck material. And if Harry Potter had continued, I would have liked to see cards that maybe in the revival in the future will do, that turns cards into another card type, so you can turn like whatever, a creature into an item into a creature, or into a lesson, whatever it is, so that you can build decks that don't necessarily depend on what your opponent's running.
Right.
The art is pretty cool, right? You have 2 little bunnies, and Harry Potter looks very different from the Harry Potter I know. McGonagall is going to a runway show in Paris. So very, very cool art for sure. Greg Hildebrand.
Yes. Yep. One of the really, really great artist.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Very fashionable art here. Yeah.
Yeah.
So now I guess my turn.
Yes.
We have a match for Quidditch, which I don't like, but this is what I get. It's a rainy day match. Oh, sorry. Okay. Cost 1 as most matches, or all matches are 1, right?
Yes, all. Yep.
Yeah. It's a healing match. So to win, you have to do a 9 damage to the opponent. And the prize is that the winner gets 6 non-healing cards from their discard pile back into their deck, and they shuffle. It's a healing card. Why playing a rainy day heals you? I don't know. Maybe it's like some sort of corny, like be happy under dancing under the storm kind of thing. But very interesting card. Do you play this, dog? I think you do, or maybe I'm mistaken.
The thing is, I would play Slytherin match over this any day, but it is a good alternative. They're the only 2 healing matches, if I'm not mistaken. So it's nice having another one. Again, there probably is no real reasoning for it, just it being the rainy day match, just like a lesser, match of less importance, rather like versus like houses versus one another. But I don't really play this honestly, but I do like the art though. It does look pretty chaotic.
The art is definitely pretty cool. I would say that this one is maybe more doable. Like, I mean, if you're the kind of match player like me that likes to play catch the snitch when you play a match, then this might be doable without wasting a catch the snitch, because it's only 9 damage.
Exactly.
So you could play it and then possibly do, like maybe 5, 6, 7 damage, depending on what combination of lesson types you have. And then, that would put you in the running, and then you can just finish them off the next turn. Hopefully your opponent doesn't, get that 9 damage in one turn. But I mean, obviously it would be experimental, but this just kind of reminds, because it's something that's like, it can happen right away type thing, then maybe it could, or maybe you have an extra action that turn. You can sort of play it to where you play this with an extra action. So you can play 2 spells that do like 10 damage. Like if you play 2 ouch or something like that, then you'll do that, something like that. I'm with you. Like I play Slytherin match. But yeah, I mean, I would play this in hopes that I can just, win it in one round. So
that makes sense.
Yeah.
Which that takes us to our next location with Mona.
All right. So we've got location, secondhand robe shop. And it says, when you play this card, discard any other location from play. As always, whenever a spell card, yours or your opponent's, does damage to a player, it does 1 less damage to that player. To transfiguration, it costs 3. I mean, it's not too bad to have if you're trying to lessen the damage. The thing about location cards is you're also helping your opponents. You have to keep that in mind. So if you're actively doing damage to them with this one in particular, then it's obviously not going to be the best bet, especially if you only have, like, let's say, I don't know, a black bat in play or something like that. It's kind of like, well, you're doing them a favor, but I mean, it's all right, I suppose.
Yeah. Low cost. I wouldn't use it personally, but it's interesting for sure. I like the little cat in the art.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, I guess the only matchup, if you know your opponent is doing like low amounts of damage but lots of it, right? Like consecutive amounts, like you said, black bat, headweight, stuff like that, then this comes in handy. And if your deck doesn't do damage, maybe your deck only makes your opponent draw, then it could be potentially, coming early on, it could be a good save, I just imagine, like, as a wizard, just wearing different robes and just like they get burned or something and you just throw them away. It's a secondhand shot, right? So that's sort of the logic. So I like it a lot. I like the art. I like that little cat, or dog, or rat, whatever it is.
It could be any.
But we can then move on to our self shuffling cards.
That I'll take this one. I think this one is costs 3 charms, and it's an item. You may use an action to have both players shuffle their decks. So yeah, self-shuffling cards. I like the artwork, how they just are just going on their own with magic. But it's just shuffle your decks.
It's really cute.
Yeah. I don't personally would not play this, but again, especially with what was that other card we read earlier, Counter Curse, where you put a creature at the bottom of their opponent's deck. If you play this like to help yourself out, you're actually helping your opponent out too. So that's, again, kind of one of these, you got to weigh the benefits.
Yeah.
Once again, a card that could potentially, there's similar cards in other games that really never saw play. Even when there were decks in the meta game that would put cards on top of the deck, it's just something that you normally would not run a card like this. It's still fun design space. I'm talking about fun design space. We go to another password as we went over. We won't go over it again. It's Sherbet Lemon, so it's to Dumbledore's office particularly because he loves lemon stuff.
Yes.
And the art is really cool. You have sort of somewhat normal McGonagall and Harry entering the office. So that's great. And as we discussed, passwords are fun. And now let's go with Dog with Swelling Solution.
Yes. That is also a potion card. It's cost 7, spell, do 8 damage to your opponent. He or she can prevent this by choosing 3 cards in his or her hand and discarding them. So this also has a promo, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
Yes.
Also released for a Chamber of Secrets movie.
Okay, cool. Again, their choice on promos aren't very like good ones as far as like player of the game. I'm not like jumping at the bit to play that Dobby card or this Swelling Solution, but it's okay. I get that you're giving your opponent the option to prevent the damage, but I'm not a fan.
Yeah, I feel that. Yeah, I have played it. Do 8 damage. Yeah.
Do they end up discarding is the real question. Or do they take the 8 damage?
No, they usually take the 8 damage. Yeah.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah, because I don't know what it is. Maybe it's just, that like, kind of like far into the game with having that many lessons, maybe they're kind of like trying to set up something.
Oh,
sure. So if they take 3 cards, from their hand and discard them, then it sort of like sets them back more, doing damage to me than just being able to take those 8 cards from their hand and discarding them. I don't know. I haven't had it played against me, but I guess it would really depend on what I have in my hand. I wouldn't be able to say if I take the damage. Like if it was like if I were playing like the Dobby and VTJ deck and I had like 2 Dobby and 1 Venomous in there.
Yeah.
And they were like, discard 3. I'd be like, nah, I'll take the 8.
Right.
You know what I mean? So so I guess it just depends.
And super scary art.
Yeah, I'm just noticing now the eyeballs swollen. Those are enormous.
It's unreal. I mean, they probably had this promo released for the Chamber of Secrets movie because of the blowing up of Aunt Marge, right?
Oh, sure. Yep.
So actually, definitely. But this Swelling Solution and self-shuffling cards are both weirdly erotic cards. Very interesting. Are they by the
Okay, I'm
same
cool with that.
person? Let's see. Alex Hurley and
I see.
Nope, different
2
people.
for shuffling cards. Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, then that takes us to our next adventure, though, with Mona, and it's perfect.
I guess that would be me. It's Into the Flu. I'm sorry. I mean, Through the Flu. All right. So it is an adventure. The effect is before each of your opponent's turns, they draw 3 cards and then choose 3 cards in their deck and discard them. To solve, your opponent chooses one of their locations in play or 4 lessons in play and discard them. And then the reward is that you take 3 damage. So the whole there's a couple cards that are like this where the effect is you draw 3, then you discard 3, and then you start your turn. That really does suck. It really does kind of slow you down, and you really sort of just want to solve it right away, because Candy Cart is the other one, and
that's right.
I can't think of what the solve is for Candy Cart. It'll come, but anyway, but yeah, so it does suck. And so if you don't have the lessons, or if you don't even have locations, then you're just like, damn, I gotta just play this card. Yeah,
brutal.
Yeah.
Yep. Very cool art.
Yeah,
it
absolutely.
Is very, very cool.
Love the green. Yes. And that takes us to our next card.
Twirl by me. Cost 8. Has Harry now looking younger. As the age shifts in the art of these cards. And it does 5 damage to your opponent. And then if they don't have any card in play other than lessons, and their starting character, of course, they choose one of those cards and return it to their hand. What? If they do have any other, if they do have any other cards that are besides lessons and besides their starting character, then they return one to their hand. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that is. I do
5
like that.
Damage. You get to bounce something from your opponent if they have something out. That's pretty cool. Yeah. I don't play Quidditch as I've said in the past, unless it's a weird golden snitch deck. But I don't know. Do you guys run this card?
I'm going to have to. I had to see if I have many copies of this, because I do like the ability to bounce something. 8 is nothing to sneeze at. But again, with Quidditch, if you're getting brooms out and stuff to kind of help boost and items like books to kind of boost your lesson count, 8 shouldn't be too bad. Or like you've mentioned in the past, spells are lowered if you're playing as Albus Dumbledore, which I still got to make that Albus Dumbledore Quidditch deck. That's coming soon.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be very cool. Yeah, Twirl. I mean, I haven't. I would play it, but like you said, I think it's just the 8 that kind of stops me, because I love the 5 damage and then all the other stuff. But there's a few other Quidditch cards that kind of do something similar. So I think I just always put Twirl on the side and just say, it's too expensive.
Same. I think that's my reasoning as well.
Probably Smash is better. The one that destroys. Is it Smash the one that destroys an item for sure? Like it costs 4?
Ouch. Yes.
Something like that.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Smash, boom, pow, Quidditch cards.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But this next card is a plant. It's a Umbrella Flowers. Only costs 3 creature lesson power, and it reads, once per turn, you may let Umbrella Flower take 1 damage that you were going to take, and the health is 6. So yeah, Umbrella Flower is not doing any damage, but saving you a lot of damage over the course of the game. I need to get a plant deck going. I don't think I have any instances of this. It's really cool though.
Yeah, this is one of the cards we were talking about with the Dragon Dung Compost.
Yes.
In the Sprout deck, or whatever. The reason we say Sprout deck is because Sprout allows your plants to have 2 more health, each one of your plants. And so if you're gonna run a plant deck, then you want to run Sprout. But yeah, I mean, I have Umbrella Flowers in a couple of my creature decks, but definitely the Sprout deck, and it does really well.
Nice.
Yeah. Okay, so Venomous Tentacula would be the next. It is a plant creature, does 4 damage. I'm sorry, it costs 4. Care magical creature. You may use an action and discard Venomous Tentacula from play to put a potion lesson from your discard pile into play. It does 2 damage and 1 health. So because it's a plant, if you had this, it would actually have 3 health if you ran with Sprout. But so kind of interesting. I guess it's like supposed to run with potion, it's like it
which I basically don't think
tells
of.
You
I always think transfiguration in creatures, they go hand in hand, never really potions in creatures, so that's pretty cool.
I don't know if it has anything to do with Venomous Tentacular Juice being a potion card.
I think that is
that it's like, well, what, but like what's the
I guess the idea is you're getting rid of your creature and you're just like crushing it up and taking the juices from it and turning it into a potion lesson or
there
something.
You go.
There you go.
That's some serious flavor.
Yeah.
Done.
Yep.
Case solved.
Check.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right, Emilio, you got another password card. That's the last one.
This is a password, and it's Wattlebird. And we've talked about this already.
Correct.
Yes.
The art is just art. They're getting into Gryffindor. So I guess it's the Gryffindor password for the second year.
Yep.
And that's about it. Looks like Ron forgot something.
Yeah, he's going back in.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
yeah, I love the password cards. Just leave that stuff up to fate. But
Yep.
I think that's the only one I'm missing because I have 3, not 4 of them. So I know one more. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Okay, so
that takes us to another
card.
match. Yes, this is Windy Day match. Another one of these, just like a low stakes match. Only costs 1 as matches do. Reads to win. Use actions to play spell cards 2 times while this card is in play. And the prize is the loser takes 6 damage. So I feel like this is the easiest of all of them to achieve. But again, I don't play this. The artwork's lackluster. It's just a miss of a match for me. A mismatch.
Yeah.
There we go.
There you go. Nice.
There you go.
Yep.
Yeah, not much to say about it.
Yeah.
I feel like if you played this, your opponent would be able to win it, like because
easily
you would play it and then it'd be your opponent's turn and then they would use actions to play spell cards twice.
Yep.
And then you know what I mean? So it's almost like maybe play it when you play something that stops them from playing spell cards so that you win it. Like there's certain adventures, or something like that.
Or with money. Yeah.
Put this in the Eat Slugs deck, Emilio. All right.
Yeah.
Basically.
Some caught by Snape and they can't play spells and then they're just taking damage,
Yeah.
All right. So next is that me?
Yep.
Okay. All right. So we've got Aparicium. It costs 5 transfiguration. It is a spell. Show your hand to your opponent. Put all lesson cards there into play. I wouldn't do this because I don't want to show my hand to my opponent. Plus, I guess maybe because I've never had so many lessons in my hand that I would want to put them out. You know what I mean? Like, I guess I'd play something else. There's a few other spells that you can play that allow you to put your lessons in without giving away all your strategy. So
right. And that's the thing. I feel like as a player of this game, your objective is you're getting lessons out early. So you're not really like holding on to them for any real reason. And so when you get a card like this, unless you just happen to draw one and had another one in there, it's like, oh, I could play 2 for the price of 1. Like, that's not bad. But actually the other night when I was playing against my wife, the card strategy session came in play. Like, I forget exactly. Oh, she charms examined me and I had to redraw my hand as many cards as I wanted. And I drew like at least 3 Quidditch lessons and a strategy session. And that card read something like basically put down as many or up to 3 lessons from your hand into play. So I was able to play 3 lessons for 1 action. That was really cool. So like I get what they're going for, but it just doesn't seem very applicable in most cases.
Right.
Yeah. All I could think of is if you can do like a very combo deck that somehow you draw a lot of cards, apparition, put like most of your lessons down, and then cast like really high cost of spells for the rest of the match.
Yeah.
But you would take a lot of damage because you have to draw. Sounds complicated. Probably there's some shenanigans you can do with this card, but yeah, I haven't thought about it really.
That makes sense.
So we go for the next one?
Yep.
That's it.
This is one of the best cards.
Is that mine?
Yes.
Yeah. Backfire. You have a Flitwick that looks like another Flitwick because they changed that character so much around.
Yeah.
There's a spell. It's backfiring. It costs 6. Hits your opponent for 5.
Love it. It's just like Stupefy. It's exact the same cost and same effect. So that's the thing. When I was running 4 Stupefy, it's like I wish I could run more. Once I found out about Backfire,
there you go.
Oh, it's like 8 of them. It's really
exactly.
cool.
It's just damage. It's the best. Yep.
Totally.
Yeah. So
next is Badgered Boy. Spell, search your deck. You may take a creature card from your deck, show it to your opponent, and put it into your hand, then shuffle your deck. And it's Transfiguration, only costs 4. So interesting. Way to just kind of get a creature for 4. Not bad. I'm actually going to have to revisit this one. I don't like the art, and the name for it doesn't really make sense to me whatsoever, but okay.
I mean, this is what Mad-Eye Moody did to Malfoy in the movies, at least. he turned into a badger.
The badger.
So very
there we go.
interesting. But this is Chamber of Secrets.
Right,
So this is
yeah.
like way before.
Good point.
Yeah, I mean, I think there is a badger right there in there, and I think maybe did he turn him into a ferret? Am I wrong? Who knows?
I think in the
But-
movies it was a ferret. That's ringing
Yeah,
a
I
bell.
think in the movie, but either way, there is like I'm with you. Like, what's the art? Like, what is it? But anyway, I don't know.
Strange card.
It is, but it is good, and it is just sort of like a testament to the fact that transfiguration and care magical creatures work well together.
They
So
really do.
Yeah, for sure.
okay, we've got Beater's Bat. Cost 4. It's a Quidditch item. You may use an action and discard a card from your hand to do 2 damage to your opponent. I mean, I don't want to discard any cards from my hand to do damage to you.
Right.
I want to get rid of the cards that I want to play will do damage to you, but I don't think I would just discard random ass cards just to do damage. But that's just me.
That makes sense to me too.
This is a half-arsed card.
Yeah.
By Wizards. So Wizards has had cards in the past that you sacrifice things and you do damage to your opponent, and they don't have a limit, but they did it as an action, so that makes it kind of useless. But if it was like that, you can just sacrifice or discard cards from your hand or lessons or stuff, and it's like as you were throwing them to your opponent, and for 2 damage, that would be a great like game ender, right?
Yeah.
But it's not, so it's just
A miss. Yep.
Yeah.
It's like something that you would find in like Fraternity X. They have like some sort of fraternity thing there. So should we go to next one?
Yes.
Oh, we're in the commons now. I had not noticed.
Oh, yeah, we
almost
did.
there. Yep.
We're going to Beetle Buttons. 6 cost. Some very weird art.
It's strange.
And you choose one of your opponent creatures in play and discard it. So you turn their beetle creatures into buttons, and that's it. That's
Yeah. Is that supposed to be Ron, or is that like a Peeves/Ron/Filch?
it looks like Ron as
Hybrid.
Malfoy.
Yeah, there you go.
There you
And
go.
Hermione as Rachel Bloom. I don't know. Like it is kind of weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Better than I could do, I guess.
Not much to say about it. That's
I
all it
guess
is. It's
the
creature removal,
Yeah.
and
Those
the
buttons-
art will scare you away too. So that's
Yeah, they're scaring
True.
away the creatures for sure. Next is Catching Apples, a Quidditch card, cost 5, spell that reads do 3 damage to your opponent. Then, if your opponent has any cards in play other than his or her starting character, he or she chooses one of them and returns it to his or her hand. So another bounce. This is like a lesser version of that last Quidditch card we were just discussing, but cost 5. Interesting card. I don't have any of them. I don't even recognize this art at all. I like.
We need to
the
get you some
concept.
cards, Doug.
Apparently, I'm just
Like
Chamber
every other
Secrets.
one.
I'm
I'm like,
missing. There's commons and shit. I'm missing. I just don't have much Chamber
Yeah.
Secrets.
Of
I'm
course,
good on
of
every
course.
other set though.
That's the hardest. It really is the hardest.
Yeah.
I'm fucking with you.
But do either of you play with this? I know Emilio doesn't, but
I do. Yeah, I do. I do have Catching Apples. That's not bad. Yeah.
nice. All right. Well, then I think the next one is yours, Mona.
All right, let's do
yes.
it. Yeah. So we've got Chudley Cannon's Robes. It costs 3 and it's a Quidditch item, of course. You may use an action to put up to 2 cards from your hand on the bottom of your deck in any order. Okay, so you may use an action. Why would we do that?
Yeah,
Allows
I'm
you
just
to
guessing if
heal.
you have dead cards or you
What
just
is
have,
it?
It's allowing you to heal if you have a big hand.
Oh, got it. Okay, that's true. That's true.
But it
Yeah.
costs an action once again. That's I think the part that really ruins it for me. Like
Yeah, maybe like when you play this card, you can do that or something like that. Like if it
But,
were
yeah.
something like but
yeah, you can return as many cards to the bottom of your deck or something like that.
right.
Yeah.
I got
Very
you.
weird.
Yeah.
Clearly we don't play with it. So
Yep.
yeah.
Moving on.
It's cool though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's all right.
Then we can go to Copper Cauldron, which was one of my favorite arts in the set.
Oh, yeah.
I really like it. Costs 3. It's an item. Provides 2 potion lessons. And to play this, you return 1 potion lessons from play into your hand. So Borrowed Wand is better. It's for charms. This is a potions. Cauldrons normally discard your lessons. This one returns it to your hand. So if you need to play it, guess you should. But if you have a charms potions deck, why not just run Borrowed One? And the answer is you can have multiple cauldrons out, and you cannot
Exactly.
have multiple ones out.
You beat me to it. That's what I was gonna say as well.
But yeah, it's a cute art. I don't run potions that much, so I don't know. Like, do you all like this?
I do. This is a great one to start stacking cauldrons. Cauldrons are crazy. You're gonna have like a lesson count of like 15 before you know it, especially if you get like one of the gold cauldrons are out or something. It's really cool.
Yeah, same. Yeah.
But while we're speaking of potions, the next card is Death Cat Draught. Another really interesting art. It's like a potion that looks like a mushroom, but it's a spell, not an item. To play this card, return one of your potion lessons from play to your hand. Do 6 damage to your opponent or to a creature of your choice. So I love the option. I love it's going back to your hand, not getting discarded. I just feel like they kind of came to that conclusion in this set. They're like, oh, I guess we could just put it back to their hand. It's like, yes, please. But yeah, this is a pretty cool card. Not bad returning 1 to your hand to then have the option to damage, let's say, a creature that's been bothering you this whole time, or just like finish off your opponent. It's pretty nice.
Yeah, it is a nice option, like you said. I mean, you pretty much touched on all of them. So really good, funky art. Yeah, good card. I play with it.
Speaking of funky, the funky name for the next one.
I know, geez, deboning. God,
Deboning.
It sounds so invasive. Can we just not, please? But all right. Okay, so it's a spell transfiguration. It costs 7. During your opponent's next turn, they can't use actions to play cards, so they would essentially just have to draw.
Yep.
So you're sort of like, having your opponent do nothing for 7, which I don't know. I mean, it is expensive. I have played with it though, so it.
Okay.
Of course you have.
Yeah,
I have not. Yeah, this is interesting card though. I love the art. It's just a great reminder of that scene in the movie and the books of just like him losing his bones and his whole arm. It's just like,
oh
what?
yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a card that definitely looks annoying to play against. It looks like the same deck that would run Caught by Snape and the thing that doesn't let you play lessons and
the forgotten. Yeah,
like,
it's
my god,
forgotten password. Yeah.
Why would you play? Why do you want to play? You don't want to play.
Evil.
But yeah, that's a card, and I do like the art.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the art is awesome.
Lockhart looks like from Family Guy or something. I don't know.
Yeah, he does.
It's a very interesting art. It's my go, right?
Yes.
Dissonance Drought. For 4, you get a spell that apparently is a potion that does 4 damage to your opponent, and your opponent next turn, they cannot play Quidditch cards.
Ouch. That's
nice. That's really nice. I really enjoy this card. Anything that stops people from playing Quidditch cards, it's amazing to me because I hate them. And once again, if you had in the future, if you had a card that transforms temporarily your opponent's cards into Quidditch lessons, they could be like some sort of luck, right? Like that.
Yeah.
With this card. So really interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of an extension of deboning, really, but it's just saying specific cards that you can't play, so it is sort of like it's definitely still stopping your opponent from playing certain cards, but it's
when
like
I play against Dog, I'll just have this in the deck.
You need them because I was gonna say I'm gonna have Quidditch for sure. And it feels like that style card would be more transfiguration, but you're also doing the damage to your opponent. That's how they get away with it for the potions.
It feels Quidditch. It feels like a Quidditch card that they made into a potion to make fun of Quidditch. It feels like an R&D inside joke of some sort.
Right.
Yeah. They knew people were having too much fun with Quidditch, so we deserve that card. That being said, on to the next one. Is there a promo for this? I don't think so, actually. I forget.
No.
But Engorgement card or Engorgement Charm rather is a spell that costs 5 charms power. It reads remove all damage counters from all of your creatures in play. Wow.
Kind of crazy, yeah.
That is actually insane to me because it's charms first and foremost. And I'm like,
right.
I don't think that's like, now it just makes me want to experiment with a charms creatures deck, but it's like I'm just at the end of the day gonna be like, why isn't this transfiguration?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, these kind of cards, it can be really helpful. Do sort of like force you into a combination that you might not want. Like if you do like, if it's care magical creatures and charms, like that's okay. But like how many more cards could really be helpful for your creatures? I don't know. I mean, it is good though. Removing all damage counters from your creatures, especially like I'm just thinking of like umbrella flowers and those plants,
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Yeah. That's awesome.
And great art. It's really like something you would see like in an ad of a porn site or something. So really cool.
100%. I think they actually used it for that. Maybe that was a
Yeah,
promo
there
you
it
were
is.
thinking of there.
Yeah.
Doug.
Engorgement
yeah,
Charm
that
in
was
3
it.
days. No, yeah. So
Doug's like, I've
so
seen this somewhere.
I've seen this somewhere. I don't know why though. I don't know. Maybe at church.
God damn it.
So we can go on now to the next card. It's
My kind of
Evanescence. Is it my card?
I think it is.
No, it's not.
It is
Because
not?
Mona, is it Mona's?
Oh, it's
Mona's
Mona,
turn.
yes.
I think it Mona's, yeah.
Yes, it is.
Gosh.
We're good at the
Probably.
rotation, everyone. We're good.
I know I messed it up. Whatever.
No,
All right. Evanesce. So it's a spell, a transfiguration. It costs 7, and choose a creature or lesson in play and discard it. So I mean, it's cool that you have the option. Like the ones that you have the option. It's kind of expensive for this. I think, but
yeah.
How
much is Defend though?
Defendo is
I think 6 or 7.
Oh, actually, Defendo I think is 8.
Oh wow.
Okay.
Yeah, Defendo I think is 8.
I would probably still run Defendo over this, right?
Yeah, this gives you the option at least of a lesson.
Yeah, it does give you the option. Yeah, and it's less than that. Yeah.
1 less. I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, and you do get to discard it as opposed to like a hover charm or something where it returns it to the hand, or even like a Dobby's disappearance or something. You return it to the hand, whereas like this one you actually discard it. But yeah.
Yeah, interesting card.
The art is very weird too. It's like a mouse instead of a book. It's very
yeah.
Strange wand they got there. I'm not. Is that better be their wand, not a finger?
Yeah.
It looks weird.
Engorgement Charm.
But the book looks amazing. I do like how the book looks. So now we can move to Family Ghoul.
Yes.
3 care for magical creatures for this Ghoul. And when you play this card, you return 1 of your creatures in play to your hand, which is kind of dumb.
Yeah, wow.
It does 2 damage and has 2 health. So the only reason on Earth why you would do this if you have a thing like Black Bat, right? Because you get to replay its effect, and it's cheap, right? And you get another beastie Metasuit. You get another monster. How do you call them? Creatures into the field. So that's the only way I would play it. It would be Black Bat, Family Ghoul, kind of like redoing damage and getting some more damage out. And doesn't sound that appealing to me, but that's all I can think about.
Yeah, interesting.
I would say that if you're playing an owl deck and having Family Ghoul is actually helpful, because each owl does something for you, but it's only a one-time thing.
Yeah.
So, you could always, but yeah, essentially exactly what you said, Emilio, is like, you would take the Black Bat, and then so it could do damage, or any of the owls, but that's really, but other than that, it's like, well, why would you? So yeah.
Right. Interesting. Don't like the art. It's a creepy little ghoul, but that's an interesting. I might have to experiment with that in the owl deck. That sounds pretty fun. That takes us to Fatiguing Fusion, 8 cost potion lesson. It's a spell that reads: to play this card, return 1 of your potion lessons from play to your hand, do 9 damage to your opponent or to a creature of your choice. There we go. Now you're talking my language. 9 damage. Woof. The deck is only 60 cards, so that's a big chunk. And for 8, I guess that justifies the cost. And you're returning it to your hand. You're not even discarding. I need copies of this card too.
Yeah, this is actually really good if you did a potion and Quidditch deck and you had that match that we passed earlier where you do 9 damage, in 1 turn.
Yes.
So like if you started with Hooch, for example, and then you just had nothing but potion, this would be pretty good. So you could just continue playing that match and do that 6 damage, something like that. That's there's a 9 damage card for you. Pretty good.
Yeah, not bad. Speaking of Quidditch, I think that's your card.
Right.
Now we get some fracking.
Yeah. Some flacking here for you. It's a spell, Quidditch. Do 2 damage to your opponent. Then if your opponent has any cards in their hand, they choose 1 of them and discard it. So not too bad. Do 2 damage and then they have to discard a card. I'm cool with that.
Pretty low cost too.
Yeah,
that's pretty good for the cost. Yeah. Definitely. And we have is that a Quaffle again?
I think so. Yes.
Yeah, I think so.
Really cute Quaffle. Yeah. The guy looks kind of cute too.
Yeah.
So cool.
Yep. I think the next one is yours, Emilio. Yep.
And we have Freezing Charm. For 7, you can get Hermione freezing the little fairy things that I forget the name.
Yeah.
And and then it does 4 damage to your opponent or to a creature of your choice. Why is it so expensive?
Right.
That's a good question.
They were running out of time, and they're like,
they're like, put 7s on everything.
Yeah.
Let's just go.
That does feel like a wrong
Yeah.
number there.
Yeah.
Wow. I guess it's because of the choice, the creature or your opponent. They're like, oh, we got to make it worth.
Choices are
more.
expensive, people.
Yeah, apparently.
Let's go with that.
But then we're on to our next creature. It's a gnome, garden gnome, costs 4 creature power. At the end of each of your opponent's turn, if there are any cards in his or her hand, he or she chooses one of them and discards it. And the health is only 1. Wow. Gnome, pestering your opponent. But again, they only have 1 health. So if, unless you can kind of keep them around, they won't be doing too much damage. But I do like that ability. It's neat. I don't play with this creature often.
Yeah, Gnome is definitely an awesome card to play with. I have Gnome in a few of my creature decks. It's definitely like a pain in the ass, and it's a really good card to play with like the Through the Flu or Candy Cart type cards.
Okay, yeah.
Or adventures, because they're having to get rid of cards, and then this allows them, and you have to get rid of cards with this also. And so playing with that combination allows your opponent to just essentially have no cards in their hand, and then when they do draw a card, then they have to get rid of it anyway. So whatever it is that they have in play will essentially be what does damage to you, because having a garden gnome or up to 4 of them, will eventually get them to have nothing in their hand, So it's annoying for sure. It's one of those sort of like, whatever you want to call it. So the most annoying things about this game are the things that work and that people also don't like. So it's almost like people want to win, but they also don't want to lose. It's very much when it comes to this game,
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it works though. You're allowed to, I guess you're allowed to do it. So
yeah. There you go. That was the potato gnome.
Potato gnome, big eye, little eye. Just crazy.
Now onto a much more powerful creature.
Yeah,
I go to Katy Perry here.
yeah. Gryffindor Lion costs 6. It does 3 damage and it has 3 health. It's good. It's also good if you wanted to do like a Gryffindor deck or like a house deck, right? Or all houses or something like that. It's really it's really nice to have that. I've played with Gryffindor Lion before, not too bad.
Yeah, I have an all house deck with Armando Dippet, the character from Revival, and he's all about the tribal houses, and any card you play that's Gryffindor, Ravenclaw, Slytherin, or Hufflepuff, you can either do 2 damage to your opponent or draw a card at once per turn. But it's really nice. So you play this, it's kind of like a black bat. You play the Gryffindor Lion. It's like, well, since it's Gryffindor, I'll activate Armando Dippet and do 2 damage. It's really nice. But that being said, I think this next one's yours, Emilio.
And we have a book, Guide to Household Pests by Lockhart. It costs 2, provides 1 care for medical lesson, and it's 2 care for medical creatures. Provides a lesson of the same. And you may use this card. This action, discard this card from play and do 4 damage to a creature. That's pretty nice.
Yeah.
I like this card a lot because you get an item. If it's Draco Malfoy, you get an extra action. Provides you with a lesson. So technically, just gets you ahead as well. And if needed, you can throw the book to a potato gnome and kill it.
There you go. That's
very
nice.
Reasonable.
Yeah,
exactly.
And most books, when you discard them, they're like more resource building, where it's like draw 3 cards or something. This is nice doing damage. That's cool.
Yep.
And that takes us to our next potion, the hair-raising potion. This art's funny. It's only costs 3. It's a spell that says do 1 damage to your opponent or to a creature of your choice. So 1 damage. Who's gonna play this card?
Oh man.
Not me, at least. I don't know. Do either of you play this?
No.
I don't understand.
Yeah, it's just that's a waste of
some sort of bad joke.
Yeah.
I mean,
no, I think it's just like someone in the R&D team lost a bet, and that's their art right there and a horrible card forever. I think that's what happened.
Yeah, 1 damage seems so low unless you're trying to take out an owl or a spider or something. It's just very.
It's not even to all creatures.
Yeah.
It should be to all creatures, if anything.
I agree. Yeah. But then they probably adjust the 3 to a 5 or something.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
True.
But all right, next is one of my favorite cards, and that's Mona's.
Yes, it is Hawkshead Formation. Same. It's a spell. Cost 7 for Quidditch here, and you do 6 damage to your opponent. So the art, I mean, the art's pretty cool.
Yeah.
You know, all chicks flying on some brooms. I'm cool with that. A little bit of a hocus pocus vibe, but I'm cool.
They're like blurring too. It's definitely like there's some action.
They're just going so fast.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah. But no, I mean, 6 damage is definitely killer for sure. And you could do ouch, of course, which is 5 damage and it costs 5, so yeah. It's cheaper, and ouch also does something else. But Hawkshead Formation is a good card. Just having strict damage is always a plus. So
yeah, if you have that lesson count, you're gonna want to play this card. As soon as I found out about this card, because I was on like Accio.cards, just like browsing Chamber of Secrets, because there's a lot I'm missing. I was like, I ordered those from the Nerd Merchant like immediately. I have like 8 to 12 of them, because I'm like, I want to spread those out amongst various Quidditch decks. So yeah, this card is one of my favorites. Great for comboing, and yeah, I do really love the art. It's pretty cool.
Cool.
Okay.
So now we have Hermione's note for 6. It's Harry Potter is learning something about the basilisk, and it discards an adventure, and you get the reward. But the adventure has to be played by your opponent. So you can't do crazy stuff like getting a huge reward out of your own adventure.
You can with Draco's Trick or something. I think that's what that card's all about.
Yep.
Yeah.
But that's pretty nice.
Yeah, pretty nice. I just wish that cards like this, to make the game more balanced, you could play regardless of what adventures say.
Yeah.
So that way you can discard things like the Dursleys or Privet Drive.
Exactly.
Or even Caught by Snape. I think that kind of removal will have been nice, but we're too late. We're how many years too late? Too many years too late.
20, yeah. Just a couple decades, no biggie.
Yeah. But yeah, cool little piece of parchment there.
Yeah, I love that art.
Effect.
Yeah, this would be cool, for something like what was that one that we were reading, Keeping Dobby Quiet, where like so your opponent would actually take the damage, but you wouldn't take anything.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah. Anyway.
That takes us to our next card. It's History of Magic Homework. Costs 3 Transfiguration. It's a spell that reads, search your deck. You may take a lesson card from your deck and put it into play. Then shuffle your deck. So yeah, that's nice. Just kind of a chance to go get a lesson and put it right into play. I'll take it, especially when you're struggling to draw lessons or something, and your hand has no lessons, and you're just like, and you have that. That's a nice way to just ensure getting a lesson into play.
100%.
For pretty cheap.
Yep.
Yeah. It's Alchemy. Alchemy gets 2 to your hand or something like this?
Yes. Alchemy, or you search for 2, they go to your hand. Correct.
Right. I think that's what it is.
Yeah. That's another nice one.
Very interesting. So now we have Mona's favorite.
Yeah, one of them. Hover Charm for sure. It's a charms, costs 4. It's a spell. Choose one of your opponent's cards in play and return it to their hand. So this is essentially like a Dobby's Disappearance, except Dobby's Disappearance, of course, is better because it gives you an extra action.
Yeah.
However, just returning cards to your opponent's hand, especially if it costs them lessons to play, is always the best. If they had to discard a lesson or return a lesson to their hand or whatever the case is, then you're essentially undoing something as well. So it's a good card. I do like it. I do play it.
This one's also got the promo. This one's really cool.
That's it.
And the art is really nice. It's very cartoony.
Yeah.
But done well. So I enjoy it a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, I like Dobby's expression. All right, and then we got Errol on this next card, it looks like. I think at least. It looks
now
like
we have a Howler, which if you tune into Doug's stream, Almost Better Than Silence, you can hear people spamming Ronald Weasley, like the start of the Howler.
Yeah.
So really fun.
Yes.
It costs 4. It's a spell. It has probably Errol with Weasley's, steaming, angry Howler. It does 2 damage to your opponent. Then if your opponent has any cards in their hand, you can look at them. You choose one of those cards and put it in the top of their deck. So this is a card I actually like a lot.
Yeah.
I like manipulating your opponent's hand. I like making your opponent draw the same card. At times, it's even better to make them draw the same card than to have them discard a card. And why? It's because they get something that won't help them, right? So you can put back something, I don't know, they have a unique character and they have another unique character copy in their hand. You put it back in the top of their deck. They draw it. They can't do anything. They're back to square zero.
Yep.
For whatever they're saying is one. They're back to square one.
Yeah.
They have to now use an action to draw if they want a card that's actually playable. So I really enjoy this type of card. Really creative, design space. Love the art. And if you want to scream at Doug with Ronald Weasley, just come in his stream.
There we go. we'll get the plugs at some point.
While we're on the Howler, just really quick, my wife is super cute and she got me the Howler like birthday, like she got a card and like it was like my birthday card, and so she tried to do the accent and stuff. Yeah, she's
that's
adorable.
so cool.
Yeah, so she actually got it a year ago when we were at like Universal. Like she bought it there and then she kept it like all this this time. Yeah, and I was like, oh my yeah, so it was just really cute.
Yeah, anyway, definitely shout
outs to her.
That was cool. We're actually on to another house creature. This next card is the Hufflepuff Badger. It reads, it costs 3 care of magical creature lessons, and it does 1 damage each turn and a health of 3. That's all. I love the little badger. He's adorable, and then just like the little artwork, it's fantastic. This, again, perfect for my Dip It deck.
I was just going to say, yeah, perfect for your deck, yeah.
Yeah, this was a great card.
I'm a Hufflepuff. Yeah, I like it a lot.
Yeah, cutie.
All right, so now we've got Invisible Ink. It's a transfiguration spell. It costs 8. Choose up to 2 lessons in play and discard them. So
nasty.
Yeah, it is nasty and it's expensive. But I guess, it might be worth it to somebody. I think when I was first playing the game, this was one of those, cards that was in that like 4 Caught by Snape deck, just trying to like do the most and then realizing like that's actually not really winning me a whole bunch. But it's kind of crappy, but it costs 8 too. So like, do you really want to do that for 8? Like,
right. I think that's why I might have overlooked this card, but it does feel like it fits in the transfiguration lesson type for sure.
Right.
Yeah, for sure. Then this is my turn, right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
We have the Leaping Toadstools, one of Mona's favorites. For what I understand, the art is super cute. They have little legs and they're jumping around.
Yeah.
It's only cost 1 once per turn. You may let Leaping Toadstool take 1 damage that you would take. So similar to the other, what's the other plant called?
Oh, that was
Umbrella Flower.
Yes.
The Umbrella Flower has 4 health, comes in earlier. So yeah, pretty cool.
Yeah.
With Pomona Sprout, it has 6 health, so it can take even more damage. Pretty cool.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Definitely,
with Sprout's ability. Oh my gosh, I gotta make a plant deck. That sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah, whenever we get to playing on our podcast here, I'll definitely bring out the Sprout deck for whoever is thinking about building one or hasn't built one yet or doesn't know the cards. I'd love to just kind of go through it. I think if I haven't made a video yet breaking down that deck, I will. But either way, it's really nice to see because you actually start pulling out these healing plants pretty fast and you're able to just play them. And so when your opponent does 2 or 3 damage, you're basically being able to absorb them.
Yeah, that's awesome. So very cool. That takes us to our next card, which is Overdue Homework. Only costs 2 charms. It's a spell. It says, look at your opponent's hand, count the number of lesson cards there, do that much damage to your opponent. So again, as we've discussed, there's not many people holding on the lesson cards. I feel as you get them, you're putting them down unless there's any reason you have a spell that would make more sense or a low cost creature and you still happen to have lesson cards in your hand. I can't imagine you're doing much more than 3 damage with this card. So, but again, for such a low cost, 3 damage, not bad if you're that lucky. So yeah, I guess this should be a card I like more when I'm all about like leaving it up to the luck of the draw or just fate and stuff of not knowing what's in your opponent's hand. But in all reality, it's kind of just like a low level card. Doesn't really do that much. I'm assuming at least.
Yeah, I don't imagine, like you said, it doing any more than like 2 or 3 damage.
Right.
If that's the case, just play a spell that does 2 or 3 damage, so
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's we're starting to run into the cards that
they're running out of steam.
We don't know what happened, how these cards got created, but they did. Yeah.
But speaking of steam, it looks like it's coming out of this poor girl's ears.
Exactly. Yeah, that's what I was just looking at. Like, dang, that's actually a pretty good segue there. Oh man, Pepper Up Potion. It costs 1 potion. Lesson, it's a spell and it's healing. So put up to 4 non-healing cards from your discard pile at the bottom of your deck in any order. So all of these like healing, where you're able to put non-healing cards. I mean, that's always fine, but it sucks because you can't put those healing cards as one of, you know what I mean? Yep. So you're not really able to recycle. So sometimes you'll go into your discard pile and be like, I actually don't have any cards but these healing cards. So
exactly.
Yeah. So I mean, but otherwise it is good. This isn't one that I have in that potions deck, but I have some similar to, put non-healing cards. So
well, that's two things I'll point out is when you do lose a potion card or a healing card rather, and you see it go to your discard, it's like, I'm never getting that back. So that sucks. And then at least with Pepper Up Potion, this doesn't require you discarding any potion lessons, which most healing cards do.
Good point.
Like this is just a nice, real low cost. Let me just heal 4. But in reality, healing 4, as someone that even likes healing and is an advocate for healing in this game, you're usually just healing, and then the next turn your opponent's doing that damage, and it's just like you're kind of breaking even. So it's like you got to be smart with what you're actually trying to do. You're better off focusing on damaging your opponent.
Right. Yep.
Definitely. Yeah. So that's my go.
Yeah.
That's it.
So yeah, after that healing potion that is for 1, we have the 3 potions homework. Oh, you like this card, don't you?
Yes, this is the lowest of all those potions homework.
Cost
test
3.
Yeah.
Yep. Discard that, make at least 1 damage to your opponent because they have to discard a lesson for it to stop, and it can go on forever. Who knows? Depends on how many lessons they have. So pretty cool. Pretty cool. The effect and also the art. I like how they don't look as frustrated. So you go up. It's Project Exam, right? They keep getting more and more frustrated, and I do that sequence of frustration. Yeah,
that's funny. But one of my favorite cards. Definitely check those 3 out. They're great.
Yeah, definitely.
The Potions Homework, Project, and Test. Next is Ransacked, cost 5 charms lesson. It's a spell that says your opponent chooses 2 cards in his or her hand and discards them 1 if he or she only has 1. So yeah, control card coming from charms, surprisingly. So yeah, interesting.
Yeah, Ransacked is fine. Choose 2 cards, discard them. I mean, it definitely sucks, for sure, but I've played it. I think I had this in my password deck, which I dismantled, and I don't know where I was going with it, but yeah, I mean it's okay.
Nice. Yeah, I'd use that card. Give it a try, especially if like you want the effects of transfiguration, but you are like stuck to charms. Like this gives you a little bit of control, being like make them discard stuff from their hand. But again, they're choosing, so they could just get rid of junk they don't need. Dead weight cards.
True.
So pretty good control for sure.
Yeah.
Yep. And so here we've got another house creature, Ravenclaw Eagle, and it costs 4. The damage is 2 and the health is 2. So the Hufflepuff, all of those are basically good if you wanted to have some type of like house dedicated deck. The creature damage with the cost ratio is okay, but if you just sort of wanted to like feel good about having like sort of like Doug's deck, then you could you could do something like that. So it's not too bad.
Yeah, I was a dummy on the stream last night and called the Ravenclaw Raven, and I'm like, okay, I'll never live that one down.
But there you go. That's the effect of that early merge that had the Raven of the Eagle. But yeah, we can go now to Restoration Potion. 4 potions for a spell. So annoying. Do 4 damage to your opponent. During your opponent's next turn, they cannot play Transfiguration cards. So one of those very specific hate cards. The art is that no, that's not Percy. No, definitely not Percy, right?
I think I want to say Percy.
Yeah.
Well, he's doing something weird to those poor little feathers.
Yep.
Yeah, true.
So yeah, they're restoring maybe feathers, animals that were transformed to feathers, and he transforms back to animals, something like that. Pretty interesting. I like the books in the back. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
a lot of really nice detail in the back there.
Yeah, another one I would say is a good candidate for side deck. Once you realize your opponent has a bunch of transfiguration and you're all potions or something, it's like, oh yeah, I don't want them playing transfiguration cards in the next turn.
True. Yeah.
But that takes us to Revealer. It's speaking of transfiguration, it costs 2. It's an item that says you may use an action to look at your opponent's hand. So yeah, you're literally just revealing what your opponent has. Could come in handy, but I think we've mentioned it before. There's other characters that have that ability that it would probably be better off if that's what you want to do. You could start as one of the Dracos, if I'm not mistaken, does that.
Yeah.
But yeah, again, for a low cost, it's nice, but you're not really accomplishing anything other than knowing what you're going to be up against for at least the next couple of cards or turns.
Yeah, which is fine, but it also doesn't change your cards, right?
Exactly.
So, so like your strategy stays the same whether you know what they're doing or not. So I wouldn't use an action for that. Now, but like you said, like with Draco, like at least you can see it and you can discard a card.
Exactly.
Yeah, but anyway. Okay, so we've got Rose Growth. It is a spell. It costs 3 charms lessons. Do 2 damage to your opponent or to a creature of your choice, then draw a card. Not too bad for cost of 3. You're doing 2 damage. You get to choose whether it's to a creature or not, and then you get to draw a card. So all of that for 1 card, not too bad.
Yeah,
and the art is really good. I really enjoy the art.
Put 4 of those in any charms deck. That's nice.
Yep.
Pretty cool.
Cool. And then we have a Shooting Star, which is cost 4 Quidditch for a broom. Provides 1 Quidditch lesson. And basically you can use like an action to discard a card from your hand to draw 2 cards. That's it. So you trade 1 for 2.
Yep.
Yeah, about that. I don't know. Like, is there any deck in Harry Potter that really benefits from having specific cards in the discard? I really don't know.
I don't think so.
Think there are, right?
Not that I'm aware of, at least. Listener, definitely weigh in if you happen to know. We'd love to hear your feedback. But yeah, I think I'd choose this broom over the other low-cost broom that we went over, just because I do like the ability to just get rid of something you know you're not going to need, and you could draw 2. But that's provided you have a dead card in your hand. Or a dead weight card.
Yeah. Hopefully you don't have dead cards in your hand.
Yes. If you're good at building decks, you will, which I'm not quite there yet.
We're all learning. Same.
But next takes us to, I think, our last creature of the set. It's the Slinking Ferret. That when you play this card, draw a card, damage 1, health 1. So yeah, very low level creature. Never really played it, but it's there.
Such weird choices with the creatures. So many creatures.
So magical that ferret, the Slinking
Ferret. It's like, what?
Very prevalent in the books.
Yeah, I think that was, I don't know. Maybe it's just supposed to be Draco when he was the Slinking Ferret. Who knows? But still, I wouldn't. I don't play this card.
Same.
Yeah.
So let's go to the next card.
No? Yeah, slow acting Venom. It costs 6. It is an item, potions. Before each of your turns, your opponent takes 1 damage. No.
See, the thing I think we've talked about this for some reason or another, but I kind of like this card. It kind of grew on me because it's an item. You could stack it. So you could technically have 4 of these out and it's doing 4 damage, but that's provided your opponent's not playing something like table flip or whatever it was that my wife played on me the other day while I was playing an item deck.
Top trouble or something.
Yeah, table trouble. That's it. Yeah, that one removes all items from play, including theirs off the board. So yeah, don't want to encounter that if you're playing an item deck.
Right, yeah.
Definitely not. So now we go to a creature. So Ferret was not the last creature.
I was wrong.
Just that last house one, right?
Yes.
It's the Slytherin Serpent. And it's a snake. Hits for 3, has 1 life, health, costs 5. And if your Armando Dippet deck would benefit from this,
yes.
It's just it looks cool, but out of Armando Dippet, I don't think I would run this.
Agreed. Yep. Yeah. That's the only place I find myself playing it personally. Next, we have a Quidditch card called Slytherin Steals. It costs 5 Quidditch power spell, and it reads, do 2 damage to your opponent. Then if your opponent has any cards in play other than his or her starting character, he or she chooses one of them and discards it. So again, damage, make them choose a card to discard. Not bad for Quidditch. Typical Quidditch.
That's pretty good, though, yeah. Once again, if you're controlling your opponent's board, you can make that what they discard be really hurtful.
Right.
Yeah, I do like Slytherin Steals. I played with it. I love I like the Quidditch cards that do damage and then something else, as we know. Good card.
Yeah.
So all of them. Sure.
Yeah, essentially.
Basically.
Most of them. Yeah. Yeah. All right. So we've got a training program. It's a spell and it costs 7 Quidditch lessons. Draw 2 cards. Then you may put up to 2 lesson cards from your hand into play. So another one of those where it's like, you draw this and then you can do that or whatever else. It's pretty good. It is expensive for that, but
too expensive. As much as I love this card, I can never fucking play it. It's so annoying.
It is interesting. Yeah, it is interesting that it's like helping you put lessons in play, but it's also so expensive. So like so like now what I've got, I guess you could essentially have like a few brooms and you can start with Hooch and maybe have 4 lessons in play or something like that. But still, it's just like actually no, you couldn't because you can only have 1 broom anyway.
Yes,
so it's just kind of like all right, I don't know. It is expensive.
The only thing that comes to mind is it's probably like late game stuff where if you do have a golden snitch or something that's like really high cost Quidditch item, then maybe this would help you get to that faster. But either way, I haven't had any luck with it personally, but I do like the concept. We're down to the last 2. This one's Emilio's.
We have the Vanishing Cabinet, which make an appearance later on the series, right?
Yes.
It's important later on the series to kill Dumbledore. And basically cost 1 transfiguration. Choose one of your opponent's items in play and place it into the bottom of their deck. That's it.
Wait, Dumbledore dies?
Oh no! Spoilies!
Spoiler!
All right.
Hedwig dies. Lupin dies. Everyone dies.
No.
All right. I'm going to do the last card. It's Zigzag. We got to zigzag away from that conversation. And it's a Quidditch power card that costs 5. It's a spell that reads, put a non-healing Quidditch card from your discard pile into your hand. So, man, actually might have to see if I have copies of this and put that in my Quidditch deck, because there are some times it's like or non-healing. Damn it, I was gonna say I would go get a Slytherin match if I could, but nope. It's non-healing specifically. But yeah, there are some maybe a Hawk's Head formation or something. It's like, I just want to do some more damage.
Yep, good card. I like it.
Yep. And then as all card sets end, we have the last 5 lesson types. We got rare magical creatures, charms, potions, Quidditch, and Transfiguration. So that'll be the full 140 cards of Chamber of Secrets.
We're not going to talk about the secret rare?
Oh, the secret rare. I don't know this one. Oh, you're pulling my leg.
Wizards did have secret rares in their first sets. Harry Potter is a very weird exception for that time. They all had secret rares. They would go over the set number. So I don't know why they didn't do it with Harry Potter, but they did not.
Interessant.
Yeah, it's definitely that Devil Snare promo is the ultra rare.
There you go.
Right.
But that being said, we can wrap this episode up. Man, it's amazing. We finally covered all the cards in the Harry Potter trading card game together. We will be discussing some of the revival sets coming up as well. But like Mona alluded to, we're also trying to do some gameplay together. Get our listeners involved. If you guys want to be a part of Mona's League, now's the time we're going to be talking about our plugs and our individual projects. So actually, that being said, let's start with Mona.
Cool. Yeah. If you are interested in the league, as Doug mentioned, it's the Into the Flu Harry Potter Trading Card Game League. So you can find that. Usually I put the link in the description of my YouTube channels, Into the Flu. It's on Discord, and we usually play twice a week, and it's all over webcam with your physical deck. So you can, see each other, chat with each other, build relationships with people all over the world. We've got some players in Tokyo and Brazil and Italy and all these places. So it's really it's really fun in Australia. Nice. It's really fun. And so if you're interested in that, if you don't have a deck, then please hit me up on Instagram at Harry Potter Morrissey. We can chat about getting you a deck or some cards. And of course, I also have a TikTok at Harry Potter Morrissey, where I just put up some funky videos of me opening packs and all that jazz. But yeah, I've been putting out some more videos on the YouTube channel Into the Flu. And I also, if you're interested in reading some of the stuff that I write about the Harry Potter TCG, you can find me my articles that I write for MuggleNet, as well as the Rolling Library, which is an Italian magazine.
Nice.
Yeah, so whatever you want to do, it's
very
all out
good.
there.
We'll have all the links in the show notes. How about you, Emilio? Tell them about your YouTube channel. And also, you told us some really cool news. I don't know if you want to tell our listeners about that.
Probably not.
Okay.
But just
X that out. X that out.
Yeah.
Get rid of it.
No. So I do have a YouTube channel, Nostalgia Collective Investments, that is behind me. I speak right now these days about Metasu. I'm a judge for the game and also a playtester for the game, and wrote part of the rulebook as well. And it's really fun to just delve into it because of the opportunity I've had. But the other part of my channel goes to that card games like Neopets, Maple Story, Harry Potter, of course. A lot more. So if you want to learn more about Dead CCGs or Maple Story or Metasu, check out my channel, Instagram, TikTok. Everything's there.
Yeah, it's an awesome
Really good
channel. Go
channel.
check
Yep.
that out.
Really good channel.
And as Emilio alluded to earlier, I'm currently Twitch streaming over at twitch.tv/ABT Silence, which stands for Almost Better Than Silence, which was a podcast I hosted for like 7 years or so. It's currently on hiatus, but keep an eye out on that feed if you're subscribed. That might come back in the near future. But yeah, keeping the show alive on the Twitch channel, and it is a lot of fun over there, just playing a variety of games and stuff. So if that sounds interesting, check that out. But I think that's going to do it for this week. We'll be back next time with some maybe gameplay. Honestly, I'm not exactly sure the current scheduling of the episodes. We also have some cool revival card spoiler information coming out soon, so that actually might be out before the time you guys see this one. But that being said, keep your eyes out on this feed. We're going to be active and maybe even doing some gameplay and teaching you guys how to play. So thanks for tuning in. That's going to do it for this week, and until next time, mischief managed.
Bye, Dobby.
Go to sleep, Dobby. I didn't even awake this whole time, you poor thing. Go eat some sandwiches or something.
Endless sandwiches. All right.